When I moved here, people would always make the joke, oh, Aliyah made Aliyah. That does mean the same as moving to Israel, going up, ascending, kind of entering a higher consciousness. So first of all, it was a name picked by my parents because they're like, wow, we thought it was a beautiful name. Little do they know that it would become my fate moving here.
I moved here from Rochester, New York, 6 years ago. I'm right now looking for work. I can see that the language is a big part, learning Hebrew, and I have been able to learn Hebrew, but it took some time.
I made Aliyah to Israel when I was 15 years old, and it was a very hard process when we came. The story isn't over when you get on a plane and come here. It's not over. The problems really begin.
I was born in Crimea, in Soviet Union, and of course I grew up with a dream to leave Soviet Union one day and to go to free world and to come to Israel.
I grew up in North America, outside Boston. I'm married and I have 4 children. In America, I was a school nurse at a Jewish day school. And here I'm just being a mom and a new immigrant, which is definitely a full-time job to be a new immigrant.
So I think it was sort of several events that influenced my decision to come here. We grew up in a household that was very Jewish culturally. Both of our parents are rabbis, so we grew up in the synagogue, surrounded by that. But Israel or Zionism was never really talked about. My grandma nearly made Aliyah, or immigrated to Israel, in 1947, I think. So there was an influence, but it wasn't pushed on us at all. And then, really, it happened when I went to college and I got more involved in the Jewish and pro-Israel community that I started to learn about this beautiful country. So I did a year abroad here and met amazing people and totally fell in love with the culture. And that influenced me to want to immigrate here in 2010.
And I was born in a Jewish family, but not a religious family. When I grew up, we had no churches and no synagogues. So I grew up in atheistic environment, but somehow I always believed in God, and that is very special. By the age of 18, I really was looking for God. I really was searching and praying even more. It was a time of uncertainty, and I really got lots of questions. I was happy with my life, and I just married with my wife, and we thought, maybe one day, because we are Jewish, so maybe one day when we're going to retire, we will go to our homeland and we will move to Israel. But of course, God changed our plans, and just in the middle of all our plans, He showed up and showed us all the scriptures and spoke to our hearts, time to move. And here we are.
I moved here with my parents, and also my sister lives here. She's married and has 2 kids. Really, I'm happy that I've been able to move here and transition, and yeah, that it's been a challenging time, but also a very good time. And
Well, I grew up in a family that was very Zionistic, not in a way of like people would come and make Aliyah. I'm the first person in my family. My husband was probably the big mover and shaker. He has been very, very patient in his life. He came when he was like 20, and he wanted to stay then and ended up going back to America. And then when we were married and we had 2 small children, we came for 6 months. And we had only planned for it to be 6 months, but he very much wanted to stay, and I very much wasn't ready. And then you get to the point where your kids are old enough so we felt like if we didn't do it at this year, then we were gonna wait till we were retired, and we didn't want to do that. We wanted to come now.
Juutalaisista kasvoi kansa, Egyptin maanpaossa noin 1800 vuotta ennen ajanlaskun alkua. Oltuaan Egyptissä 400 vuotta, juutalaiset palasivat Kanaanin maahan, jonka Jumala oli luvannut heidän kantaisälleen Abrahamille ikuiseksi perinnöksi. Noin 600 vuotta ennen ajanlaskun alkua juutalaisia joutui pakkosiirtolaisiksi Babyloniaan. Rooman valtakunnan aikana noin vuonna 70 kansa hajantui jälleen, nyt joka ilmansuuntaan. Nykyinen paluumuutto luvattuun maahan eri puolilta maailmaa alkoi 1800-luvun lopulla. Israel on maailmankartalla hyvin pieni alue. Sen pituus on noin 500 kilometriä ja leveys alle 100 kilometriä. Silti Israel on jatkuvasti esillä kansainvälisessä mediassa.
Israel was never easy country to live in. When you come as a tourist, it's nice, lots of fun, biblical heritage, just beautiful country and beautiful beach like in my city. So it's nice for tourists. But when you come to live here, Bible called Israel a country country of milk and honey. But to have been able to use milk and honey as a local person, as a local citizen, you have to work hard.
I think what people don't know about Israel is that it's the only democracy in the Middle East, and the rights that people have in Israel are unparalleled in the Middle East. Like lesbian and gay community here, full equal rights. Arabs who are Israeli citizens have full equal rights. I think sometimes the media portrayals of Israel and what's the reality are so very, very different. It's sad.
It's just really important to form your opinions based on facts and real experiences rather than regurgitating what the media tells you to, which, as I've been learning in school, often has an agenda.
I think the land of Israel is a place that's certainly not perfect, but we have to protect our land here from those that are, as you can see, the land of Israel surrounded by all nations that want to kill us, and it's God's plan to protect this nation.
Juutalaiset ovat levinneet kaikkialle maailmaan ja ovat moninainen kansa. Heillä on kuitenkin myös yllättävän paljon yhteistä, kuten kosher-ruokavalio ja oma kalenteri juhla-aikoineen. Kaikkialla juutalaiset ovat myös pitäneet kiinni viikkolevosta eli sapatista, joka kestää perjantai-illasta lauantai-iltaan. Israelissa sapatin vietto näkyy koko maassa, erityisesti Jerusalemissa.
שלום עליכם מלאכי השרת מלאכי עליון ממלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא בואכם לשלום מלאכי השלום מלאכי עליון ממלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ברכוני לשלום מלאכי השלום. ברוך אתה השם אלוקינו מלך העולם Bore, pria gefen. Amen. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו, לעולם ועד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך.
Israelin valtion synnyttyä 1948 sinne on muuttanut yli 3 miljoonaa juutalaista. Heitä on tullut joka ilmansuunnasta, Irakista Marokkoon, Kiinasta Intiaan, Amerikoista entisen Neuvostoliiton maihin ja Ranskasta Etiopiaan. Kirjaimellisesti kaikkialta. Muutto Israeliin vaatii tulijoilta tottumista moneen uuteen asiaan.
We lived here in this apartment for about 3.5 weeks with like literally nothing. I had taken like 2 pots and 2 knives and a colander for pasta in my suitcase. And we had a folding table and 4 chairs that we borrowed from somebody, and we slept on air mattresses, and that was literally all we had. So it's been very pleasant to have like our sofas and our stuff and our beds and our blankets here from America. It's been very comforting.
I'd say the attitude of people is different here. There's maybe less patience sometimes, and just it's very fast-paced. It's different here living in Jaffa because it's right in the city and there's lots of noise, but it feels like a home, and feels like the people are friendly, and it's very much family-based here. And I can say, maybe coming from the US, that it wasn't so based on such family because people like their personal space. But here in the Middle East, you don't have a lot of personal space. You know, you're interacting with people all the time. Before I moved here, I had visited once or twice, so I knew a little bit of what it was like. But I guess I expected it to be maybe more similar to America or Europe, and to not be so difficult actually to integrate.
I'm extremely punctual. I'm always on time, even if I know the other people won't be on time. I can't break myself of the habit to show up when we've agreed upon. So bringing with me those expectations and coming here, you either have to drop them or you'll go crazy.
I'm in Ulpan. I go to intensive Hebrew class every morning for 4.5 hours, 5 days a week. It's amazing. It's really, really helpful for the language skills, but also for the social piece, because almost everyone there is a new immigrant, and we're a very diverse group. In my group, we have people who are not religious, people who are religious, people who are from Russia, from the Ukraine, France. It's like a very, very nice mix of people. And so life feels, it's certainly challenging, but it's very, very beautifully easy in so many ways.
Suurimpiin selviytyjiin kuuluvat Etiopian juutalaiset. Heistä yli 20 000 tuli maahan 2 Israelin hallituksen toteuttaman salaisen operaation aikana vuosina 1984 ja 1991. Osa ei edes tiennyt määränpäätään noustessaan lentokoneeseen. Perillä heitä odotti uusi moderni yhteiskunta, vieras kieli ja erilaiset perhehierarkiat. Usein Etiopian juutalaisista vasta toinen sukupolvi onkin päässyt sulautumaan paremmin israelilaiseen yhteiskuntaan. Israelin valtion juutalaistoimisto tukee juutalaisten muuttoliikettä Israeliin. Se pyrkii myös sopeuttamaan muuttajia maahan, kuten järjestämällä kielenopetusta. Teini-iässä Amerikasta muuttanut Haim Malespin muistaa hyvin omat paluumuuttajan ongelmat ja haluaa tukea uusien israelilaisten kotoutumista.
You have to find a house, you have to learn a language, you have to know, do I have to go to the army? How do I get married? Everything.
Nuori yrittäjä on perustanut Aliyah Return Centerin kotikaupunkiinsa Tiberiakseen. Keskus tarjoaa muuttajille majoitusta ja tukea. Haim tekee yhteistyötä myös juutalaistoimiston kanssa ja on laajentamassa keskusta entiseen sisäoppilaitokseen Jordanin maaseudulle.
We have joined together with the Jewish Agency, and that's the one who does the aliyah and the absorption of Israel. We joined together with them, and we have now begun to lease this property. We are going to fix it up. We're going to all put our hands to the shovels and paintbrushes and bring in contractors, and we are going to see this place again fulfill.
Ääneen lausuttu toive ensi vuonna Jerusalemissa elää ja toistuu juutalaisissa rukouksissa. Kullakin yksilöllä on omat syynsä suunnata Israeliin. Viime aikoina moni ranskan juutalainen on muuttanut antisemitismin takia. Ukrainasta muuttoliikettä on lisännyt sota, Venäjältä maan huono taloustilanne. Israel Pohtar muutti Ukrainan Krimiltä vuonna 1995 ja oli osa yli 1 miljoonan juutalaisen muuttoaaltoa entisestä Neuvostoliitosta. Hän on keskustellut monien samaan aikaan muuttaneiden kanssa ja havainnut, että ihmisiä veti Israeliin jokin selittämätön vetovoima.
They would say, I don't know, just something changed in one day and my life in the country just became meaningless. When I think of future, I can see my future only in Israel. When I think about Israel, I feel light, I feel joy, I feel good. And if I think staying here, I feel kind of darkness and I just know it's time to move. Many people really moved because they felt it. They totally atheists, not believers of any kind, but they felt something inside and they felt like we need to move. And many would justify it saying like for the future of our kids, for the future of our nation, to keep our identity. But I can tell you, it was a really move of God.
And that idea of yearning for Zion and wanting to come back here has stuck with us from the exile throughout the diaspora. So, the birth of modern Zionism with Herzl is just another manifestation of that.
Mielenkiintoista kyllä, Tanakh eli juutalaisten pyhät kirjoitukset ovat tuhansia vuosia sitten ennustaneet juutalaisten paluumuuton kaikista maista. Asia mainitaan siellä yli 70 kertaa, alkaen 5. Mooseksen kirjasta ja psalmeista. Myös lähes kaikki profeetat, kuten profeetta Jesaja, Jeremia ja Hesekiel, puhuvat aiheesta.
Bible speaks a lot, specifically about exodus from the northern countries. If you go north from Israel, you come in first to Lebanon, Syria, Turkey, then Eastern Europe, Ukraine, and Russia. And actually, it's going straight to Moscow, which really represents all the Soviet Union countries and Russian-speaking world. So actually, I found there is many scriptures speaks about Aliyah, or movement of God. Because God's saying always, I will cause Jewish people to come back to land of Israel. I will do all kind of miracles. I will take them out. And it's been growing in my heart, and I felt like, wow, Bible speaks about me.
You know what, the way that I always learned it is that Israel is really the place that all the Jews should be trying to live. And I'm really pleased to be a part of it. You know, I don't know, does it mean Mashiach is coming and that I'm being here? You know, I wish I could say yes, but I don't know. I'm not learned enough to say that.
It says in Jeremiah 31 verse 8, even if they are in the farthest places, from there I will gather them back here. So that's talking about now. You know that back in the time of Egypt, God sent Moses and he said, I'm bringing the children of Israel out of slavery, out of anti-Semitism, and great miracles happened. The Red Sea parted, you know, and the Jordan River also parted, and they came into the Promised Land. We are living in a special time in history, a time that has never happened before on this scale.
I can see that there is a plan for this land, and the fact that so many different people have immigrated to this land also shows that it's a very special place.
Speaking about conflict here with the Arabs, or probably right way to say Muslims, maybe even better to say radical Muslims. To understand this conflict, we need to go back to history. And what happening here, it's not just conflict between people, but in our case, in case of Israel, the conflict is spiritual. It's going all the way back to the Bible, the envy between Isaac and Ishmael, and it's an old story.
Juutalaisten vahva identiteetti ja tavat ovat pitäneet heidät muista kansoista erillään. Tämä selittää myös juutalaisiin kohdistunutta vihaa ja kateutta.
A lot of times Jews, and this is part of the heritage wherever we've been, whether that's Poland or Morocco or the United States, vary within our own community. And this disinterest in assimilating has frustrated a lot of people in the countries, which of course leads to anti-Jewish sentiments. So I never felt discriminated against, but I did feel very happy when I was within the Jewish community, because there's a certain cycle of the year with holidays and food and traditions and religion that you kind of blend into. So it's nice that when you're here, you don't have to explain if you need Passover off or there's a certain life event in your family.
And also to finally feel like you're part of the majority. For all my life, I was in the minority. I went to a school with 4 Jewish kids. It's so nice for my kids not to feel that.
Israelin hallitus arvioi, että jo lähes puolet maailman juutalaisista asuu Israelissa. Juutalaiset ovat kuin muuttolinnut, jotka risteilevät maailmalla eri suuntiin. Kuitenkin heitä kerääntyy Israeliin yhä enemmän, kun tilanteet maailmassa muuttuvat.
I've always said that, Israel needs to be here because you never know when Jews will have to leave their country. We've seen this recently in Ukraine. We've seen it with France. We just brought over some of the last Jews of Yemen who were being threatened to death. So, it's important that it's here because America's safe, and people say it always will be safe, and I do believe that, but you never know. You never know when having a safe haven will be a good thing.